Right, scrapped up. Yeah, RoyalBlu, I think, versus Scallywag. Is that right? I think that sounds vaguely familiar. I have a feeling this is a winners bracket matchup. I think. And I did have the right people. So here we've got RoyalBlu in the blue trunks, in fact, in the bottom right of Submarine, and Scallywag playing Terran up in the top left. So looks like it's going to be a pretty traditional building placement from Scallywag, and similarly from RoyalBlu. Standard stuff, you put your buildings at the top of your ramp, it's where you do it. All sorts of good reasons for that. Acceptable alternatives, this is more important against Zerg because of the potential always for a Ling Rush. This is just weird, Scallywag. There's never any need to open with two depots like that. Yeah, more important to create that wall against Zerg than against other races. So I wouldn't mind at all in this matchup seeing the first buildings go down here to actually make your kind of defensive region on the low ground so that it's much easier to get that fast expand up. But no matter. Yep. So gateway building, barracks building, quick gas from Scallywag. I say quick, it's not really that quick. It's about normal. Gas finishing up for RoyalBlu as well. In general, Terrans can often get away with leaving gas quite late because the Marine is such a versatile unit and doesn't cost any gas. So you'll see plenty of Terrans will skip gas to get an earlier expand and just rely on having a few Marines with the slightly later combat shield, slightly later stim. And it's generally fine, I don't mind that at all. It's RoyalBlu then is going to come out for Scout first, and in fact Scallywag going across the map to Scout as well. But the two workers didn't pass each other, so Scallywag doesn't know about this worker, and the position of this looks like it is possible this is up to no good. You can see that the side core here is about half done. About now you would want a pylon to go down if you were going to be proxying a Stargate, and I wouldn't mind seeing that. It's a nice build. But the worker was just waiting for a time to come in and scout. So comes in, this can be really annoying. This worker can attack the SCV that's building the CC, and it can be pretty frustrating. You have to send something down to deal with that, otherwise you lose that worker and that's no good. So it looks like a Marine is going to come out and actually chase that away. Because the SCVs move around while they're building, you do have to kind of repeatedly micro the worker harassing. I don't think this worker is going to get out, that's a shame. So Scallywag coming back home, did he go in and have a look around? It looks like he did. One of the things to check for when you do come in and look around is how many pylons are there in your opponent's base. Because if you come in at this sort of time and there's only one pylon, that means there's definitely a pylon somewhere else on the map. And if there's a pylon on the map, that means there's probably a proxy. Because bear in mind, that only really works for Protoss. Look at this. It only works for Protoss because Protoss have to power their buildings with pylons. Now this guy is attacking the gas now. There's 8 workers in the gas. This is a bit of a shambles. So he does need to fix that. Because obviously those workers could be mining minerals. They're not, once there's more than 3, doesn't get you any more gas. It just doesn't work like that at all. So quite a few gateways coming down. Going up to 4 gates and a fairly sort of odd Stargate timing because it's too early for air transition and it's too late for a quick Oracle or whatever, so not really sure what that is, but anyway, it's a Stargate, isn't it? I hope it isn't another EMS Mama ship. I'm getting it's wearing a bit thin. The EMS Mama ship is quite a thing. I'll speed it up at this point. Things looking pretty robust here from Scallywag. We've got combat shield researching, which is good, and stim will start after that. We've got siege tanks coming out, and a siege tank is an awesome unit. They're just good against roughly everything on the ground. They've got a large range, they do splash damage. Out of siege mode, they've got a pretty high DPS. Turns out it is an Oracle from RoyalBlu, and the scan sees it, sees literally everything. So that is a brilliant scan. Assuming Scallywag was watching, he will know that this Oracle's coming. And what you'd like to think would happen then is that the Marines would be in position, but they're not. So the Oracle's going to come in here, it's going to get a few kills. Oh my goodness, it's like damaging SCVs but not actually killing them. That's a bit frustrating. So yeah, those two SCVs left so close to dead is kind of bugging me. Oracles can kill SCVs remarkably quickly. They actually two-shot them. So a little bit of micro makes the Oracle actually work much quicker. You can essentially stutter step it. Oh no, but don't lose it. That is a shame. With that said, did kill 9 workers. So, I mean, it's not exactly, you'd call that a very successful Oracle, I suppose. But it did look pretty straightforward to get it out without losing it, and they can be useful later in the game. So, RoyalBlu doing well at probing up with plenty of oversaturation here, ready to transfer to this base. The question is, has he got the infrastructure to spend that income? It does look like he will have, because additional gateways coming down. That is always one of the things to look out for. When you're about to do a big worker transfer, you're about to add 50% to your mineral income. Bear in mind in advance of getting all that money, how are you going to spend it? Otherwise, you just end up with a huge bank. So build the gateways in advance. Have them so that they are finishing up, ready to go as your income starts to spike. And you can see how high the income has shot up there for RoyalBlu. That is a substantial income lead over the Terran, who is still building workers 2 at a time, and of course can drop mules from these orbital commands. So yeah, plenty of potential for the Terran to catch up, but does have a little bit of catching up to do. About 14 workers adrift at present. But as these mules come down, if we look at this income tab again in a minute, we'll see how much it has spiked up by because of those mules. So Thor's coming out, and siege tanks. There we go. Let's check that income tab now. You can see that it's, well, actually, even in favor of the Terran. That is the effect that mules can have. So a bit of a mech build here, looking okay. Wouldn't mind seeing some upgrades. There is an armory, so wouldn't mind seeing some upgrades for that mech. I like mech. I like Terran mech. It's pretty robust. I'd prefer to see this stuff positioned somewhere here so that you can defend this base and this one. If a bunch of charge zealots turn up here right now, this base dies before your units are anywhere near it. So do think about, if you are just going to hang out at home with your army, think about where's the best place to position them. You want to be able to cover your base, literally cover your bases. And also think about splitting your army up a little bit rather than having it in one ball somewhere. Have a few stalkers in here just in case a drop comes in, so that you can deal with it. Have a handful of Marines. Actually, it does, to be fair, have a handful of Marines back there. But yeah, Thor's hanging about here is kind of, I'd like to see them either active on the map, moving about, controlling the map. Because if you poke out onto the map and you notice that your opponent isn't on the map, well, then you can just go ham and expand everywhere and just throw down so many production structures that you just take control of the game. However, there is all sorts of tech here that hasn't been used as yet. So no. I mean, beautiful idea, Scallywag. I love the cloaked banshee. What I would love even more is if you hadn't bothered to cloak it until stuff turned up to shoot it. And what I'd love even more than that is if it wasn't wasting its time poking this Stargate. Because honestly, you're probably not going to kill it. Look how long it's going to take this Banshee to kill that. I think there's a pretty strong chance that it runs out of energy before the Stargate's died. It dies, and you've achieved roughly nothing. Oh, but it turns out RoyalBlu's going to move all his units away just as this Banshee runs out of energy. So if these Stalkers are in location, this Banshee's dead, it's actually going to get the Stargate. I don't see the point. You've killed one Stargate. You could have killed all of these workers, or you could have killed all of these workers, and that, I would have said, is a good move. Now with that said, RoyalBlu, did build the structures, but hasn't been building out of them. We should definitely be maxed out by now, and we're not. We're only at 160 supply, and there's 3.5 grand in the bank. Anyway, here comes the big jukaroo. So working on these supply depots seems like a terrible waste of time. You're getting shot by siege tanks, probably kill those. And this is what I'm talking about. If these stores are out the front, then they're already killing this stuff. Instead of, this one isn't even in the fight, neither is this one at the back here. This is just it's a miserable engagement. The Cloak Banshees are a nice touch, and they're going to actually do quite a lot of work. The siege tank on the high ground just raining down doom. It looks to me like Scallywag is going to hold this reasonably, but I'd love to see the Thor's better position. I'd love to see this one pulled back. It has 1 health, 1. Get a repair on that. Seriously, just a little bit of micro. Just shoot this one. 1 shot, 1 shot. Just put 1 shot on that one. Oh, painful. Painful, so painful. Look, just send a Stalker in and get 1 shot on that. You swap a Stalker for a Thor. No, it's going to survive. That is, that is miserable. Anyway, Scallywag's got a lot of production at home, but the only thing building is a Mama ship. Are these on cooldown? I mean, why don't we just have more stuff coming in? Surely this Thor dies now. Surely. Come on. There we go. Thank goodness for that. What is really missing from this Protoss base that could make a huge difference here is shield batteries, but more importantly, you need to constantly be warping stuff in to spend this money. But you've only got like what 6-7 warp kits. They need to be non-stop busy. You can't just go around like having idle structures with all that money in the bank. There's nothing building from the Robo, there's nothing building from the Stargate, there's nothing being warped in. You can't win again like that. You've got to turn the money into units. And please, just a little bit of micro. Focus the ones that are weakest first, and you will kill them. So, incredibly, the EMS Mama ship saves the day, and all of these cloaked units win. The mothership with 20 health. No, there are observers here with this, so the Banshee will get cleaned up. Yeah, so quite a back and forth fight, really. Not really sure what to think about that. Thor's coming out, but look, the big problem here, Scallywag, is you've got one building. Look how much money and gas you've got. How can you build an army from, if you want to train up a 200 supply army quickly, you're not going to do it out of 3 buildings. You know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 command centers and only 1 barracks? How is that going to work? I'll tell you, it isn't going to work. It's just not, is it? Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we've even got some extra gateways in production. There are a reasonable number of gateways. A bit disappointed not to see anything come out of the Robo. Robo is very good against mech, so Immortals in particular are very good against mech. This DT is going to take a shot to the face but be okay. The range on the turret is pretty big, so it's going to get cleaned up before it gets anything done. To be honest, it could come in and kill all of Scallywag's workers, and it really wouldn't matter. There's 8,000 minerals in the bank. He doesn't need workers. What he needs, well, he does. He needs the workers to be building. Like, if you're going to go mech, why don't you have 6 factories right now? Like, building Thor 6 at a time is well, here's how it works. It is 6 times faster than building them 1 at a time. True fact. Yeah, so I'm not really sure why RoyalBlu isn't attacking at this stage. Has done. Oh, what? He's going home. He's just kind of chilling outside the base instead of just going in and getting some hurt on. It's all a bit weird. Just attack, like get involved. I'd love to see some higher tech stuff come out for RoyalBlu. I don't know what the upgrades are like over here, but I'd really like to see these upgrades out sooner. Are these air upgrades? You know, you've got stuff on the ground. You're building Thors mostly. Yeah, but you know, my biggest beef here is a single barracks, a single factory. Yeah, it's just not going to cut it. No matter what you do, that isn't going to cut it. BCs could be awesome here, but again, you could be building them 9 at a time. And here's the way that works. That is 9 times faster than building them 1 at a time. So the Protoss army is going to come in here, kill this base. I think the Terran army is just tiny, and is going to die pretty quickly here to all of this stuff. So it looks like RoyalBlu will eventually mop this up. I don't think there's army left, or at least not significant army left for Scallywag. Yeah, so Scallywag, you know, the macro was all right, but I'll tell you what wasn't all right. The macro wasn't all right. The economy was all right, but the actual turning it into stuff was no. You need more stuff. You need more buildings, way more buildings. So many. Like, it occurs to me, you must have been really bored for a large part of that game, because what were you doing? You weren't building any stuff. You were just mining. You know, it's not farming simulator. It isn't. It's not about the just like gathering stuff. It's not it. It's about going to war, build an army.